Well, happy Wednesday, Cumming Community Church. Pastor Thomas here with our midweek update. A little later, but I'll explain why on that in a moment. A couple of things I want you to remember. One is we need to remember that we are collecting both gifts and money to buy gifts for a couple of families in need this Christmas in conjunction with the Norwalk Ministerial Association and the Norwalk School District. So if you are able, if you have the means, we would love it if you could help out with that. There will be sign-up information in the email below. And you can go to the website and pick out a gift, or you can just give some money to help offset the cost. The church is getting whatever is left, and we've already had some folks give toward that end. So would love it if you could help us out with that. The other thing that I will remind you of is prayer meeting today at 2 o'clock in just a couple of hours. Hopefully I get this done in time. And then also Adult Bible Fellowship on Sunday. There will be no Theological Training Institute this upcoming Saturday. Unfortunately, your teacher, that is me, has to help someone move. So I'm unavailable to teach. So with all of that out of the way, those announcements, would like to explain why I'm a little late in getting this out this morning. Had every intention to get up and do it right away, but if you know my office, if you know my study here at the church, you know that it faces, that way is south, and there's a big tree in the south front lawn next to the Ed Wing. Well, during the summer months, that tree is full of leaves and it blocks the sun. And it also, then during the winter, the sun goes a little bit further to the south in the southern sky as well. So between that and the fact that there is no leaves on the tree, it means that the sun glares on my computer monitors when I'm working for the better part of my workday. And normally I would just pull some curtains or some blinds shut and was dealing with that, but it was just getting frustrating. And if it's cloudy, I wouldn't do it, and then the sun would come out and go, I'm like, like a vampire or something. And so I decided I would just rearrange my office, maybe make a little more use of it, also set it up so it'll be easier for me to record videos. I don't have to set up and tear down every time. I share all that with you, not as an excuse, but as an illustration of the text I want to look at today. And I'm just filling in some stuff. If you've got a topic you'd like me to discuss, let me know. Be happy to do that. But I've recently started again in Genesis, finished my Bible plan for the year, and decided I'd just start again next year. So get a jump on it. And if I finish early, I'll just get a jump on 2022. I don't know, whatever that is. But in Genesis chapter 4, we know that story, the story of Cain and Abel, right? And we know that Cain and Abel were brothers, and we know that starting in verse 3, we read that in the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground, and Abel also of the firstborn of his flock and other fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. So there's the setup to the situation, right? Two brothers, sibling rivalry, and we see that God approved of one and did not approve of the other. Now, there's lots of speculation and theories and teachings on this. I'll give you I think the simplest one based on the text is that Abel brought the firstborn of his flock. He gave God his best, the first. We don't see that in Cain's offering, only in Abel's offering. So that's my 2 cents worth. But we know that regardless, Cain was upset. And so God said, the Lord said to Cain in verse 6, "Why are you angry? And why is your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is contrary to you, but you must rule over it." So God is warning Cain about what will happen. He's warning him that there is temptation and sin that's right there, crouching at the door, ready to pounce. And then we see in verse 8 that Cain spoke to Abel his brother, and when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Where is Abel your brother?" He said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And the Lord said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground." I'm going to stop there. We know, most of us know the rest of that story. If you don't, come talk to me. I'll get you a Bible and you can read it for yourself. But here's what I want to talk about. So often sin is crouching at our door and we just sort of cover it up. Kind of like I was covering up the sunlight for those moments when they were gotten my way. Rather than dealing with it long term so I don't have to do that every day, we just sort of cover it up. But eventually it's going to come back and it's going to get us. So what's the answer? Well, God told Cain, deal with your sin. Deal with it. Do what you know is right. In our case as Christians, we know we are to confess our sin. We are to go to God and we're to apologize and to repent. And that's what you and I can do. Rather than covering it up, rather than blocking out the sun, we can deal with our sin. That's my encouragement for you today. It's a tremendous blessing to know that as Christians, we can have our sin dealt with. My encouragement for you is to take advantage of that today. Well, I hope that this finds you well and safe. Oh, one last thing. Hope you still are watching on this. One last thing I wanted to mention. As you know, the numbers with COVID keep going up and up and up and up and up. And the governor recently made some new guidelines and mandates with things. Thankfully, we as a church were already ahead of that. We were, our attendance being the blessing of being small, I suppose, is that we did not have to worry about that. We're right at the cusp of that. And we were already wearing masks primarily. So here's my request. One, please make sure you're wearing your mask as you're coming in to the sanctuary. Please make sure you're wearing your mask while we sing to help keep the spread of our breath and the germs at bay. And do me one more favor. As we're leaving, slip your masks back on. That's been our policy. We all haven't been doing that. And if you're lingering to talk to somebody, because it can get kind of loud in the sanctuary, even with our small numbers, do me a favor. Make sure you've got that mask on if you're talking to someone, because then you're not spraying at them. And sit couple rows back so I don't spray on you when I'm preaching, okay? And do me one more huge favor. I posted on Facebook, rather than complain and grumble about what the governor's asked us to do, can we do it? First Peter talks about how we are to obey our earthly government, and we talked about that over the summer. So I'd encourage you to do that to honor God. Okay, I think that's it now. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Christmas offering, prayer meeting, ABF, wear a mask, and tell people about Jesus. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you Sunday, if not before. God bless.